Captain Vexthor of the Galactic Enforcement Coalition stood frozen in the doorway of the human vessel's recreation bay, his four eyes blinking in asynchronous confusion. Before him, the human female named Autumn sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by 6 Keltharian cubs, apex predators whose adult forms could tear through reinforced steel, each wearing tiny knitted hats. "What?" Vexthor's translator struggled with the growling clicks of his native tongue. "Have you done?" Autumn looked up, her face splitting into that unsettling expression humans call a smile. "Morning, Captain. I made hats for the babies. This one's Captain Whiskers." She gestured to a cub wearing a miniature peaked cap. "And this is Admiral Fluffington." The cubs, each the size of a full-grown Terran wolf, purred contentedly as she scratched behind their ears that Vexthor's security chief, a rigid Zalvian named Coordinator Prisk, pushed past him into the bay. "Impossible. The human has initiated the right of command designation. She's claimed them as tactical units." "I've done what now?" Autumn asked, pausing mid-scratch. Colton, the human male who served as the ship's engineer, appeared behind the captain with a coffee mug in hand. He surveyed the scene and sighed. "Autumn, what did you do this time?" "I made hats. Look how cute they are." Vexthor's mandibles clicked nervously. Coordinator Prisk, explain. Prisk consulted his datapad, his crystalline fingers trembling slightly. "Among the Keltharians, naming a young predator and adorning it with symbols of hierarchy is an ancient war custom. By placing rank insignia upon their heads and bestowing titles, the human female has declared them her command structure. The cubs have accepted her authority." "Their hats," Autumn protested. "Little tiny hats. I made them because it's adorable." One of the cubs, Lieutenant Snuggles, according to the purple beret perched between his ears, yawned, revealing 3 rows of crystalline teeth that could shear through bone. He nuzzled against Autumn's hand. Colton set down his coffee and ran a hand through his hair. "Let me get this straight. Autumn put party hats on some cubs, and now you think she's building an army." "Not party hats," Prisk corrected, highlighting an image on his datapad. "Military designation markers. The peaked cap indicates Naval Command. The beret signifies Special Operations. That small tricorn," he pointed to a particularly fluffy cub, "is reserved for Strategic Warfare Divisions." "That's Commodore Puffball," Autumn said defensively. "He likes pirates." Vexthor watched as the human female stood, and all 6 cubs immediately fell into formation behind her. It was subtle, the kind of trained synchronization that took military unit cycles to develop. When Autumn moved left, they moved left. When she stopped, they stopped. "This is problematic," Vexthor admitted. "The Keltharian ambassador will arrive in 6 hours. If he believes you've claimed his offspring as military assets." "His offspring?" Autumn's voice went up an octave. "I thought these were rescue animals. You said they needed socialization." Colton closed his eyes. "Autumn, did you read the briefing packet?" "I skimmed it. It said, juvenile Keltharians requiring behavioral enrichment. I thought it meant playtime." "It meant diplomatic supervision," Prisk interjected. "These are the ambassador's children. He sent them aboard as a gesture of trust during peace negotiations." Autumn looked down at the 6 cubs, now sitting at attention in a perfect semicircle around her feet. Captain Whiskers sneezed, and his tiny hat tilted sideways. She reached down automatically to straighten it, and the cub's purring intensified. "Okay," she said slowly. "Okay, this is fine. I'll just take off the hats. Explain it was a misunderstanding." She reached for Captain Whiskers' peaked cap. The cub growled, a deep, resonant sound that made the deck plates vibrate. The other 5 cubs immediately moved between Autumn and the doorway, their body language shifting from playful to protective. "Or not," Autumn whispered, withdrawing her hand. The cubs relaxed. Colton pinched the bridge of his nose. Of course this is happening. I have encountered humans before," Vexthor said carefully. "But I confess I do not understand. How did you accomplish in 3 days what professional Keltharian handlers require years to achieve?" Autumn shrugged. "I just played with them. We did puzzle games. I taught them fetch. We watched movies. They really liked the one with the singing robots. And I made them hats because I thought they'd look cute." "You weaponized cuteness," Colton said flatly. "I did not weaponize anything. I was being nice." Prisk's crystalline structure flickered with what might have been anxiety. The ambassador will interpret this as a territorial claim. The human has bonded with his offspring more deeply than he has. In Keltharian culture, this is unprecedented. What happens when he gets here? Colton asked. The Vexthor's translator emitted a sound approximating a sigh. Either he will declare war to reclaim his honor, or he will acknowledge the human's superior claim and cede parental authority. Autumn sat down hard on the floor. 6 cubs immediately piled onto her lap, purring. Admiral Fluffington's beret fell off. She absently placed it back on his head. I don't want to take anyone's kids, she said quietly. I just wanted them to have fun. Colton knelt beside her. I know, but you've done that thing you do. What thing? That thing where you're so genuinely kind that reality bends around you. He looked up at Vexthor. Can we explain human social customs? Show him it was innocent. The captain's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Perhaps, but the bond is genuine. The cubs have chosen her. Even if the ambassador understands intellectually, emotionally. He trailed off. Autumn looked at the 6 small predators covering her in affectionate headbutts and purrs. Captain Whiskers had fallen asleep, drooling slightly on her knee. Humans, Vexthor said with something approaching wonder, do not conquer through strength. You conquer through an excess of compassion that leaves the conquered wondering how they ever lived without you. We're not conquering anyone. Autumn protested. Tell that to Commodore Puffball, Colton said, pointing to the cub now wearing Autumn's jacket like a cape. Lieutenant Snuggles yawned and stretched, his tiny beret somehow remaining perfectly positioned. Through the viewport, a Keltharian diplomatic vessel approached, its hull gleaming like dark water. Autumn straightened the hats one more time and stood to face whatever came next, flanked by 6 apex predators in miniature military regalia. United by nothing more than kindness and hand-knitted accessories, Vexthor muttered something in his native tongue that his translator rendered as humans. Every single time,